Thank you all so very much for that. That's our national anthem. Thank you very much once again. Again, I welcome you all to the Renewed Hope Global Virtual Town Hall Conference. Today is another edition of our weekly conference, which started 2 weeks ago for the 2025 new season. Even though we had a short break last week, so we're starting again. We're restarting again today. So I welcome you. Thank you so very much for being part of this conference. Um, Today is another special edition, um, following on the huge success that we had last year, during which we brought to you um, um, so many another. Um, we brought to you a great statistician, one of the leaders in our country who told us about who enlightened us about the statistics as to how many we are in Nigeria and everything. So today in our conference today we have another special edition where we'll be engaging with one of our leaders, who is the Honourable Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, under the Renewed Hope agenda of President Tinubu. So once again, my co-hosts for today are, as usual, Honorable Jacob Ogushe, Haji Rakia Bello Abubakar, Udeme Ukwe, Sheon Bayewu, and Tosin Olayinka. These are the people that will be assisting me as usual in moderating today's conference to ensure a smooth and uninterrupted deliberation. And as usual, the conference is streaming live across the social media and especially on Ben TV, courtesy of the CEO of the first Nigerian African TV digital channel on Sky, Alistair Shorty. Many thanks, sir, for your support always. Looking through the conference today, I can see, as usual, every week we have new faces joining us across the globe, and with the usual participants. Thank you all for being part of this program. We appreciate your support. Please keep coming up and every week, and we promise not to disappoint you. Today, as usual, we have in our midst one of the top VVIPs of the administration of President Tinubu. The VVIP is no other person than Senator John Owan Enoh, the Honourable Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment. And our topic for today is driving industrial transformation for a prosperous Nigeria under the Renewed Hope administration. As you all well know, this platform was set up as a veritable vehicle for interaction between Nigerians across the globe and our leaders in Nigeria. These are the people that hold the apron strings of our country and are steering the ship of our fatherland with a view to enlightening our people regarding the inner workings of the administration of the day. And today, as always, we will be exploring another segment of President Tinubu's vision and policies in an interactive interview with one of the big shots within the government who will be dissecting President Tinubu's administration, shedding light on its significant achievements and forward-looking plans as encapsulated in the Renewed Hope agenda upon which the president campaigned, and we all gave him the mandate as well as the golden keys to Aso Villa on the 25th of February 2023. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm pleased to announce that our special guest of honor of today has joined the conference. Our special guest of honor, as I said earlier on, is no other person than the renowned erstwhile Minister for Sports, who is now the Honourable Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment. I think that is his right forte now, because with what he's been doing, I think that suits him to a T. So he's no other person than Senator John Owan Enoh. So, to kickstart the conference, please permit me, because this conference will not be complete without me relaying his profile, which upon reading it, I was overawed by it. So please give me a few minutes for me just to go through it first. The profile of Senator John Owan Enoh starts with two hashtags. The first one is John Gets It Done. And the second hashtag is visionary Joe. As it happens, I'm Joe too, so maybe we have something in common. I don't know. We shall find out in the program. So the profile of Senator John Owan Enoh reads as thus. Distinguished Senator John Owan Enoh is a visionary leader and accomplished public servant whose career reflects a steadfast commitment to excellence, innovation, and impactful governance. Born on June 4, 1966, in Agbokim Waterfalls, Cross River State, he embodies a legacy of academic brilliance and transformative leadership. His academic and professional foundation reads as follows. Senator Enoh earned a BSc Honors in Sociology from the University of Calabar in 1988, graduating as a joint recipient of the Best Graduating Student Award. He later advanced his academic credentials with an MSc Honors in Demography, a postgraduate diploma in Management PGDM, and an MBA. He also completed executive education programs at world-renowned institutions, including Harvard Kennedy School, Stanford Graduate School of Business, and the University of Bath. His early career as a lecturer in the Sociology Department of the University of Calabar in 1991 to 1997 sharpened his understanding of societal challenges and deepened his resolve to serve. His legislative excellence. Senator Enoh began his political journey in the Cross River State House of Assembly from 1999 to 2003, where he served as minority leader and chairman of the Information Committee. Transitioning to the National Assembly in 2003, he served 3 terms as a federal legislator, distinguishing himself as deputy chairman of the committees on cultural and tourism and appropriation before becoming chairman of the finance and appropriation committees. A hallmark of his legislative impact was his leadership on the Fiscal Responsibility Act and the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, MTEF, ensuring greater fiscal discipline and transparency. His investigations as chairman of the Finance Committee led to the recovery of over 400 billion naira in unremitted revenues for the Nigerian government. His senatorial contributions reads thus. Elected in 2015 to represent Cross River Central in the Senate, he further solidified his reputation as a reform-minded legislator. As chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, he championed reforms including cutting billions of naira in excessive charges tied to the Treasury Single Account TSA. We all remember that. His tenure was marked by a clear commitment to accountability, governance, and the empowerment of his constituents. Now to his public service, empowerment, and philanthropy. Senator Enoh has consistently prioritized human capital development through education scholarships, benefiting thousands of students and facilitating employment for his constituents across federal agencies. His leadership exemplifies a people-first approach rooted in integrity and service. He is also a philanthropic visionary, no less. In addition to his political achievements, Senator Enoh is the founder of the John Owan Enoh JOE Foundation for Diabetes, a non-governmental organization NGO dedicated to combating diabetes in Nigeria and reducing its implication in target communities. 1. The foundation provides comprehensive support, education, and resources to individuals living with diabetes. This is part of the responsibilities of the foundation. Secondly, its mission is to empower individuals to manage their condition effectively, improve their quality of life, and reduce the risk of complications. And thirdly, operating from Cross River State, Nigeria, the foundation upholds values of inclusivity, compassion, and access to health care, ensuring its services are available to people regardless of socio-economic status. And through the Joe Foundation for Diabetes, Senator Enoh has demonstrated his belief in impactful health interventions which remain pivotal in his broader vision for societal development. His ministerial leadership. He was appointed Nigeria's Minister for Sports Development in 2023 by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Senator Enoh was later redeployed as Honorable Minister of State for Industry, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. His vision focuses on fostering industrial growth, revitalizing manufacturing, and promoting inclusive economic development. His global recognition. Senator Enoh is a fellow of the Center for Peace and Conflict Studies, CEPACS, at the University of Ibadan, and has been recognized as one of Nigeria's 50 most outstanding legislative icons between 1999 to 2010. He is also a recipient of the Senator of the Year Award 2016 in Cross River State. His legacy and personal life. Renowned for his dedication to good governance, Senator Enoh has made significant contributions to his alma mater, including establishing the John Owan Enoh Resource Center at the University of Calabar. A devoted family man, he is happily married and blessed with children. With a career spanning decades of exemplary public service and a record of driving transformative change, Senator John Owan Enoh contributes to inspire as a champion of progress and innovation. All I can say to that is, wow. And I'm sure you will understand why. So, to start the conference, I have to officially welcome our special guest to this conference. You are highly welcome, Your Excellency, to the Renewed Hope Global Virtual Town Hall Conference, sir.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Honourable. Thank you for welcoming me. I'm delighted to be part of this global conversation.
Thank you very much, sir. As you all recall, he was meant to appear on our program last year, but the very week he was meant to appear, there was a reshufflement, so we had to reschedule the program for this. So, for him to come on again today shows how the kind of leadership that he's been given to Nigerians, because it takes, if you have been in contact with some of our leaders, you will understand how difficult it is to be able to pin them down. So for him to say, I still want to appear on your program, that says a lot about his resilience, that says a lot about his leadership qualities, and for that, we remain grateful to you, sir. Thank you so very much for coming back again today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for thanking me. I think it's part of my job. I think you guys are doing a tremendous job for our country and for the presidency of President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Appearing on this program is what is going to help you continue to do what you are doing. Why not?
Thank you so very much, sir. So I will be the first to fire the first salvo of questioning before we go to the participants and the public for their question. My question will be based on the topic for today, which is driving industrial transformation for a progressive Nigeria under the Renewed Hope administration. So my question will be, will go thus. That Nigeria is highly blessed with human and natural resources is no doubt. Globally, we are renowned for that. If there's anything, that is what we are known for, which presupposes that the country has huge potential for growth in all spheres of life. And with the right policies in place, we believe that the country can attain its potential. Therefore, my question to you, Your Excellency, is that please give Nigerians across the globe an overview of the policies of this Renewed Hope administration on driving industrial transformation for a prosperous Nigeria.
Well, thank you. Let me start by, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when it started, and for the first 1 year, 3 months, had a minister of industry, trade, and investment. After a year, 3 months, when the cabinet reshuffle happened, 2 ministers were actually sent to this ministry. One, the Honourable Minister of Trade and Investment in the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. And then the second minister is me, the Honourable Minister of State for Industry in the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. Because we're speaking to a global audience, because we also, have the responsibility to properly educate. It was important to start by having to, say what I've said. I'm the Honourable Minister of State for Industry in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. Having said so, let me say that, this government, came in with an 8-point agenda. And, the seventh agenda of this 8-point agenda has to do with accelerating industrialization through digital economy, manufacturing, and innovative technology. I mean, that is almost like an exclusive, agenda for the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. And in terms of the deliverables, in terms of the performance appraisal, the ministry is always and has continued to be appraised under Agenda 7. Having said so, I mean, and you've gone on and on. Everything you've said is correct. I mean, the potentials of our country in terms of the natural resources, in terms of the huge human endowments, I mean, it cannot be questioned. I think that the greatest challenge has been our ability to translate all of this into something that works for country, into something that works for the Nigerian people. And I mean, there is no better indication of the commitment of the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, than his recognition and appreciation of the role of industry, which is why in the last cabinet reshuffle, like I started by saying, he had to make sure he had a Minister of State dedicated to industry. And that's why I'm the Minister of State for Industry. And quite a number of things have continued to happen to enhance our industrial growth. And I think that wherever you are, part of this program from, you're going to appreciate the fact that our country will not make any progress. Our country will not achieve economic development unless there is industrial growth, unless there is manufacturing, unless there is all of that. And I think that this government, at the very beginning, has tried to demonstrate and to give effect to this by taking the actions that it should take to be able to enable this to happen. I mean, this government started with, having to, very early, there was about a 200 billion, facility that was, granted by the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, divided into 3 sets. The first set, 50 billion, was meant for as grants, for our nano, the business people. And then the second part, 75 billion, was for MSMEs, I mean, micro, small and medium enterprises, which, as at the last count in our country, and we're going to get to that later, number close to about 40 million, and represent the real embodiment of the growth potentials of our country. I mean, and then the last, it's another 75 billion for manufacturing. And all of these presently have been administered by the Bank of Industry, which, by the way, in spite of the challenging situation, in spite of the, the interest rates and all of that, are still able to continue to maintain single-digit interest rates to encourage industry, to encourage its growth and all that. So all of these are going on. In terms of policy, I think that, and I mean, the government and the country is actually not lacking of the various policies that have been intended to see how they can, crystallize growth, crystallize industrialization and manufacturing. I think what has been lacking is been putting all of these policies into effect, making them to work. I mean, policies, are not just policies for themselves. They are policies for what they are intended to achieve. And I think way back, a lot of those policies have been in place. I mean, there is one policy on the backward integration program, a deliberate and intentional attempt to see how to encourage local capacity in certain sectors. For example, the sugar sector, and all of that. And, so there's been a policy, for example, there's been an auto policy, that is been, spearheaded by the National Automotive Design and Development Council, NADDC, and that policy dates back way back, and that policy, it's, targeted at doing what? Seeing how, you can encourage local assembly of vehicles and all of that in our country. I mean, at some point we're at the same, stage with South Africa, but if you go to the South African auto market today, it's almost more than saturated, and Nigeria's own is not. So I can go on and on mentioning these policies But I think that one of the things that the present administration wants to do differently is to actually try to see how we can actualize these policies. There's a CTG, the Cotton, Textile, and Garment, policy, which has been in place, but what has happened to our textile industry? So if there is one thing that this government would do, if there is one thing that my tenure as Minister of State for Industry is aiming to achieve, is to see how we can record appreciable things that we can measure in all of these policies that have been put in place, and see how we can run with them to make sure that at the end of the day, that Nigeria is not left behind, that in the global space, Nigeria remains competitive in terms of innovation, in terms of technology, in terms of advancement and encouragement of industry. Because we realize, as everybody does, that we can't continue exporting our primary products. We need to process them. We need to get into production. It achieves a lot for country, both in terms of job, availability of jobs, both in terms of, the value addition, both in terms of how much it's able to attract and bring back to the country in terms of foreign direct investments. All of these are in play. And my commitment and determination is to see how this is given effect to.
Oh, thank you so very much for that elaborate response to my question, because you see, you touched on on various issues there, which I believe is germane to the reason why we set up this platform, which is simply to enlighten Nigerians as to the inner workings of this government, so that because the social media is awash with a lot of warped narratives about Nigeria, and especially about our leadership. And that is one of the reasons why we set this up, so that we can at least allay the fears of Nigerians across the globe. But when they hear directly from our leaders, and for a few minutes there, you had everybody enthralled, I believe, with what you just said now. So for that, I would say thank you so very much, sir, for at least hitting the nail on the head, especially as far as the policies of this government regarding industrializing the country. And I think the fact that the president decided to headhunt you, taking you away from sport into this into the industry ministry. I think it's, for me, it's another big plus for this administration. And thank you so very much, sir, for enlightening us on that score. I've taken a few takeaways from here now, which I'll be reading out at the end of the program. So now, because I don't want to be the one hogging the limelight, because this program is not about me. So I want to yield the floor to some of my co-hosts, who will then be taking on the questions from our participants. They too might have their own questions too, because some questions came in before we got some questions before you came onto the program. So we will be. First of all, I have to say one thing, sir, before we proceed. Thank you so very much, because I noticed you joined about 15 minutes before the program started. That, for me, it says a lot. You see, I like people who keeps to time, and especially when it comes from our leaders, I like to appreciate it. So thank you so very much, sir. I'm just saying this for the whole world to know that our special guest joined 15 minutes before the program started. So for me, that's beautiful. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thanks for that acknowledgement, except you're thanking me for doing the right thing. I mean, what I simply did was the right thing. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. So I'll yield the floor now to one of my co-hosts. It's no other than Udeme Ukwe. You have the floor now, sir.
Thank you so much, my chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. My name is Udeme Ukwe, one of the co-hosts. Honorable Minister, I want to say thank you so much for coming, Senator John Owan Enoh. It's my pleasure to have you, even in our midst today. I want to thank you so much, even for finding time in your ever busy schedule as a minister to join us even in this conference. So thank you so much, sir. With our questions, just want to speak to the participants. If you have your questions, please use the feature to raise your hand and we would call you. Please, because of the time, if you can make your questions as concise as possible, very short, very straight to the point, so that others too can ask their questions even to the Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, sir, before I go to the participants. I just have one question, before I go to the participants, and that is with the new President of the United States. He's talking about a lot about tariffs, a lot about making America great again. So my question is, going back to Nigeria, is how do we address local competition with imports to provide growth, in Nigeria? How do we try to balance it between the local growth and imports coming in even into Nigeria? Because we want our economy to grow, we want people to buy, and like you rightly said, not just produce but process, goods in Nigeria for Nigerian consumption. So how do we do it? Is it insensitizing, the local produce? But again, that's my question. I don't know if you want to answer that or you want me to go straight to the participants, Honorable Minister.
Well, I mean, I don't know what procedure is best and has always been adopted, but I think that without prejudice to that, I can actually go straight away, take your question, and then we'll go to the next question. And I think that if I understood your question properly, Udeme, it's the balancing out between local growth and import. And I know you talked about President Donald Trump in terms of his tariffs and all of that. It's there is always what is called the balance of trade. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to look at the cost benefit. You want to look at the balance of trade. Is it in the negative? Is it in the surplus? Even though this is more a trade matter, it's more a trade issue. But I like to say that at some point, some weeks back, I was reading some commentary that had to do with, it was a reaction to the fact that Nigeria was too much an import-dependent economy without any much effort and willpower to see how it can encourage, its own, the exports. And then that opinion was that, the position of that opinion was that the problem really wasn't so much in terms of the volume of imports into the country, but the fact that we're not producing enough, and that therefore we need to expand and we need to deepen our productive capacity. So I mean, it was a very convincing argument. So as not just Nigeria, as nations continue, as we continue to come face to face with the global nature, of the world. That is the extent to which no country, can afford to be alone. I mean, the most we'll do is that we need to see how much we can stay competitive, and that while we get dragged on usually by importations and all that, the government itself, has always been deliberate in terms of seeing how to encourage, local productive capacity by various incentive measures that it has always adopted. I mean, since becoming Minister of State for Industry, I mean, I've had to approve countless number of import duty exemption certificates to various industrialists and productive companies, just to be able to see how they can be encouraged to do better and to do more. So all of these, I mean, what we can continue to do, like I've been, trying to mention, is that the government, the ministry, would continue to encourage those kinds of policy decisions that try to encourage the local ability of our manufacturers to produce more, while also looking at what's coming in. I mean, at different times, when you talk about, let's say, backward integration programs that I mentioned at the beginning, all of these are targeted at seeing how much encouragement and support government can continue to give to our manufacturers and industrialists. But at the end of the day, at the end of every period, let's say annually, the government has a way to determine the balance between imports and exports and whether we are doing well or not doing well. And that determination, that outcome, will continue to influence the policy direction of every government.
Thank you so much. That was A lovely, great answer. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for that answer. For that very, very succinct answer. Thank you so much. I will now go to the participants. Please, if you are using an alias or alias for on your name, please can you change it? I see GOS is hands up. Unfortunately, we can't call you because we need your full name or your name. I have Galaxy S7 Edge. Please, can you rename your the username on there to your actual name? It's that we can't call you. We need to be able to put that name to the question. I will be calling on Jamil Aziz. Moderator, please, can you help me unmute Jamil Aziz? And the next person is Joseph Olutade. So Joseph Olutade, get ready. Jamil Aziz, your question, please. Make it very concise. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and
Good
clear.
evening. Good evening. Good evening, the host. Sorry, your name, sir. Your Adam Jayola, sorry, the host. That is the chief host. I agree to regards to you, UK. And then the Honourable Minister, John Enoh. I agree to, sir. Please, my question are just two. One for the host and one for the minister. Or two for the minister, sir. I want to make it very quick, within 1 minute. Sir, in simple terms, what is that thing that your ministry can be seen, as a parameter to measure the progress in your ministry so that citizens can actually see from where this is where we were and this is where we're going? Because some of these, your ministry are like Ministry of Industry is one of the very virtual ministry that people do not, it's not like World's ministry, they see the number of roads they are building. But please, simple term that citizens can easily see and referable. And the other one is that the bureaucracy of government. There was this holiday of duty, tariff, holiday, and all these things. They announced it like almost 6 months ago. But almost throughout the last quarter or second quarter of the last year, third quarter of last year, people could not actually feel that that thing was effective. So I don't know if you can share with us on that. And for the host, do we have opportunity?
Your second question again. I don't think I understand the. You said that thing.
Okay, there is this tariff holiday that the president announced through the Ministry of Finance and the rest, that the duty waivers, import of brown rice, some other things for agri products, they will leave the tariff, even on pharmaceuticals or all these things on imports. So, but people did not see that reflecting, like it's supposed to crash the food prices and the inflation to decelerate and all that. So we are saying, what is about this bureaucracy of government that they will announce something like in June, July, we will not see that in like coming into play. So that's exactly the question. What's the status of that policy? And has it been done? Have we started seeing, can we now see the effect? Then the host, please, sir, do we have the opportunity of sharing the transcript of this program? I've attended many of the sessions. It's always delightful that we have point to listen to it again. Thank you. If you have the opportunity of sharing, kindly tell us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your questions. I would now go to Joseph Olutade. Moderator, please, can you help me unmute Joseph Olutade, please? Thank you. Is Joseph Olutade there? Okay. If I can get Joseph Olutade, can I get Gabriel Shodende unmuted, please? Gabriel Shodende. Then I'll now hand over back to our chief host, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. Thank you.
Thank you, moderator. Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to our guest, the Honourable Minister. We are happy to have you. Thank you for the insight you are giving us. Just something I would just want to find out that given the challenges to industries in terms of energy infrastructure all that we have in our country now. Is the probably under renewed hope, are we looking at having a cluster, say something like a industrial city, where all these facilities will be provided either through solar or whatever, so that it makes life easier for industrial growth and transformation? That is just my contribution at this point. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Honorable Minister, please. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, can I go ahead?
Yes, please, sir.
Okay, I think I've had two people ask questions. The first, I think, is Jamiu also. And I think that his first two questions were directed at me. And the first question had to do with, what can we see? What can we touch? What can we measure? Because like he appreciated, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment is not like works that will construct roads, that will do this, do that. Let me say right away, that, the ministry doesn't need to construct roads and build bridges for, the outcome of its work to be measurable. And why do I say this? I started this program by underscoring the fact that Agenda 7 of the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President has to do with the acceleration of industrialization through digital economy, manufacturing, and innovative technology. And that periodically, on a quarterly basis, the ministry is measured, is evaluated in terms of how much it is achieving in that regard. It's clear. And deriving from that agenda, and based on the work of the ministry, I'd like to request that, we all go to, I think it's already in the ministry's website. We have, what has been published as our 2025 outlook of the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. And there are a number of things that we've stated. And I think that at the end of the day, we want to be measured, we want to be, evaluated based on the ability we've been able to, based on our achievement or attainment of what we can consider our outlook and our agenda and the kinds of things that we want to achieve. I just like to say like that. The second question, started from, decrying, the role of the waiting time and the delays associated with the bureaucracy, talking about tariff holidays that were announced and mentioning some products, brown rice, all of that, And I don't think that the exact and, immediate measure of whether a policy decision of government has been implemented or not is looking at the outcome in terms of the price of that particular product. I wish it was as simplistic. I wish there was a one-to-one relationship. So this government, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will not announce any tariff, holiday, will not announce any of those policies that it will not implement. I can assure you that all what government had announced in this regard that was targeted at seeing how to make life easy for the Nigerian people has been effected, has been implemented. I think that if you are looking at the chain, it's a chain that has to do with a complex of issues. And I'm glad that the next person that asks a question tried to underscore the enormous challenges, the challenge of infrastructure, the challenge of power, the challenge of transportation. All of these will always be brought to bear in terms of what the pricing of different commodities would be, not just in terms of whether the announced tariff measure that is intended to mitigate, on the eventual cost of these products has been done or not. Gabe, I come to your question. Talking about the challenges, and the challenges are plenty. The challenges are enormous. I remember that early as Minister of State for Industry, I'd had a session with, the captains of industry in Lagos, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, NASIMA, NASMI, Organized Private Sector, all of them. We were all in one room. It's you can't be in charge of this sector without meeting, such people. And I remember my opening statements, at that gathering was that we are faced with a situation in which we have to make industry to work. We have to get manufacturing to happen in spite of the numerous constraints that the country is passing through. And that, unfortunately for us as a country, in the past, when we have not had similar constraints, we've not been able to take advantage of the situation. But that this government and this president has shown it from day one. This president has shown courage in leadership. This president has shown intentionality. This president, looks at all of the challenges that he inherited as opportunities for him to make a mark, and is actually walking the talk. So you are right. I mean, within the ministry, we have, the deliberations of industrial hubs. I mean, right from the last moment of the last administration, there is what they call the special group processing zones, that had been promoted by AFDB and all of that, in which about 8 states became the first states that were supposed to benefit from about a $500-something million, loan facility. And then recently, at the African, investment summit that took place in Rabat, Morocco, I was privileged to attend representing Mr. President. The remaining states, when something of them came on board, and in a room that was intended to raise close to about $2 billion, at the end of the day, close to about $5 billion was raised. Again, a measure of the thirst and the hunger, by investors to come to Nigeria. So you are right, in order to see how we can achieve, a balance and make progress in spite of the concerns that we have, there is intentionality in terms of creating and setting up industrial zones and industrial hubs where common services can be created and brought together for the benefit of a group of industries and all that. So that is our food that is going on, and this government and the present leadership of the ministry is actually going to consolidate on that and try to do a bit more than it's been done before.
Oh, thank you so very much, sir, for that elaborate response to those questions. Before I yield the floor again to the next co-host, first of all, I need to make a public announcement here. Just like we had penultimate Saturday, we have some other big shots from this government again. They like to sneak up on us like that just to see what we are doing. So we have a couple of them again here today, for which we are always very grateful to have them. First of the VVIP that we have today on this conference is no other person than the Secretary to the Federal Government of Nigeria, Senator George Akume. You are most welcome, Your Excellency, to this conference. Thank you so very much for being part of this. We really appreciate you coming in to see how we're doing, trying to propagate our country, because whether some people like it or not, Nigeria is our country, and we have no other country like this country. So we have to do and propagate the country and make sure that those who are peddling some kind of silly narratives about our country, our job is to ensure that we counter them. So that is what we are doing. Thank you so very much, sir, for being part of this. Again, we have our grand patron who is always, he's never too far away from us, who is always joining us. He's no other person than Chief Babatunde Ogala. He's the SAN, is the chief, is the senior counsel to President Tinubu. He too is on here. I'm not sure, maybe because we always have to feed from his words of wisdom. Maybe at some point I will call upon him to give us his words of wisdom again. Thank you so very much, sir. We always appreciate your presence. Again, we have some senior officials from the presidency. They don't want me to mention their names, but I have no choice. I have to let the people know that we have people from the presidency who are part of this program. So thank you all so very much for being part of this program. It is always our pleasure to have you here. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing more of the big shots in the government during our program. Before I yield the floor to my next chief host, we have somebody from Egypt, which I would like to call now to field his question. The reason why I want to call him is because he has some technical issues that he's not been able to raise his hands, and because he's from faraway Egypt, So I would like, I'll seek the indulgence of everybody in the house. Please don't judge me. I'm just trying to be fair to everybody to call him to fill this question. I will call him then. Maybe I'll yield the floor to our special guest to answer the question. Then I'll yield the floor. He's no other person than Chief Isaac Inyang from Egypt. Chief Isaac Inyang from Egypt. Can we please unmute him so I can ask his question? Chief Isaac Inyang from Egypt.
Good morning. Good morning. This is Isaac Inyang, Honorable Senator. We are all protocol observed. I have a couple of questions. Sorry, I used to be the past chairman of the Nigerian diaspora.
You have only 1 minute, sir. Please try and bring it within that 1 minute, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it within 1 minute.
Okay.
Question is, the first thing, please, can you explain to us if the one-stop shop is available for diaspora? Secondly, about this pioneer status incentive, can you outline it, how we can collaborate with you? The third one, I plan to come to Nigeria soon, and I would like to reach out to you through this program to see if I can meet with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. So I think I'll yield the floor now to our Chief Special Guest of Honor to answer that question before I yield the floor to our next co-host. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief Isaac Inyang, that, spoke, from Egypt. I'm going to take your questions, very quickly. First, you're talking about the one-stop shop for diaspora, whether it's available. I think that the Diaspora Commission, headed by the Honorable Abike Dabiri, has continued to remain very pioneering and has continued to do a very tremendous job. This commission, together with the, PEBEC, the Presidential Ease of Doing Business, commission, have actually partnered to a very reasonable extent to get, everything that our diaspora community needs. So the one-stop shop for diaspora, is in existence. And I think it's important to be able to see how to take advantage of it. The second question on pioneer status, just like the name implies, of course, the pioneer status tries to encourage, innovative initiatives on the part of our manufacturers, on the part of our industrialists, and the guarantee and the assurance that, of course, there are benefits that are attendant to, having to be pioneering in any of the investments, in any of the productions, in any of the innovations, that is in place. When I started this program, I talked about a series of incentives that, government has in place, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has in place to encourage the growth of industry and manufacturing. I couldn't be exhaustive in terms of the enumeration of these policies. So the pioneer status incentive is one such policies, one such incentives, which government is carrying on with, which government is making better, like everything that this administration met. What this administration has tried to do is to change it to work for country and to work for the Nigerian people. So, if you are an investor, just be sure that your investment will always be protected. Normally, you are given, a period of time within which you can enjoy, this kind of incentive when your investment or your manufacturing concern is of a pioneering, nature. In terms of coming to Nigeria and trying to use this program, thank God for this program. But outside this program, it's one of the things that I've carried into public office has been the fact that, I am as accessible as you can, as it can be. So anytime you come to the country, Chibinyang, just give me a call, just send me a text. And I think through this program, you'll also be able to get, my number, that is going to assist you do so. Do you have a contribution to make to the growth of our industry and our productive capacity in manufacturing? Why not? That's why I'm on this job. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir, and a special thank you to you again for um, giving the participants the opportunity to meet with you, because that's one of the things that we provide here, to give that kind of, you see, I keep saying it every week, that you just never know when your preparation will meet with an opportunity, and this is another of such scenario playing out here. So I'm sure when the gentleman reaches out to us, we will definitely connect him to you. Before I yield the floor to my next co-host, I think the previous caller threw a question at me, which was about asking about whether he can get a transmission of this program. Yes, we do have a transmission of this program on our website, but again, we have normally, like tomorrow morning, I'm gonna be posting a thank you message with a snippet of the video of today. You can get that. If I have your details, you will be getting one. But if I don't, you can go to our website, which is www.renewedhopeglobalconference.com. I repeat, www.renewedhopeglobalconference.com. When you go there, you will get the full video of this program. Of course, because we always like Nigerians to have a rehash of what has been done at every conference. So thank you so very much. I hope that answers your question. So let me yield the floor now to my next co-host, who is Honorable Jacob Ogusheye. You fill the next two questions, whilst if you have one of your own too, you can sneak that in so that our special guests can answer them all together. Honorable Gushe, you have the floor now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. My chief host, Mr. J.K. Adebola. I appreciate the opportunity, sir. Thank you so much for all you do every time. And let me again welcome our guest tonight. I welcome you, sir, our Honorable Minister of Industry, Senator John Owan Enoh. Thank you so much. Before I go to the audience, I have a question for you, sir. A few days ago, you were in Cotonou, somewhere there, with some of your work, some of your delegates, sir. And you met with your counterpart from the Republic of Benin, sir, and you talk about the same sugar company. Sir, I want you to, if possible, sir, to elaborate what is happening to that moribund investment over there, and what is your plan to get that industry back on its feet, sir? That's for me, sir. Then I will now go to Joseph Olutade, while Dr. Emo should get ready. Then Mr. Joseph Olutade, you can please unmute and build your question, sir. Mr. Joseph Olutade. The other time you were not able to unmute you again, same thing this time around. Please unmute yourself, sir. Okay. While we are waiting for Mr. Olutade, can Dr. Emo please take the floor, sir? Dr. Emo. Oh, it's like Dr. Emo, are you there, sir? Oh, we might need to go to Buki or Kangwe. Can you please unmute, sir? Buki or Kangwe? Sorry. Buki or Kangwe? We are with the okay. You are on Buki or Kangwe. You can speak now.
You, the host of this program.
Okay, good. I'm back. Excuse me. This is Dr. Mo, okay? Sometimes we have a technical difficulty on your own end. I was trying to unmute myself. He was holding me. Anyway, it's always a pleasure joining this, conference. Honorable Enoh, John Enoh, please. Few things, okay? The other day I was with, just give me a little bit of time because it wasted my time. We were on a teleconference, on a business conference with a friend of mine. He was a white guy. We were trying to see how we can set up pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria. So one of the things the company complained is that the telephone service is not going through in Nigeria, which I tried. It happened to be true. So if you can take that to the Mr. President, those
running the Nigerian telephone services to make sure that people can get through, because business is communication. People cannot try your number many times, buying a recharge card and so on, when they can call direct and pass the information. These are one of the things they said. I made a note on that. Okay. Then number 2 is access. No matter any policy we have to create an access, key access for people. Like, if you want to go to this kind of industry, this is your contact. If you want to do this, all those processes have to be in place. Okay. Then another thing I'm trying to suggest is a tax freeze for people for foreign direct investment who can come to Nigeria and establish company. The idea is that when they establish the company, they can hire people that will pay tax. So indirectly, that tax you give them is like a psychological reversal. You get it from your citizens because they are being employed. That will also cut down unemployment. So these are some of the processes that we can have in place. Okay, I have been with a corporation for many years as a director. This is my 17th year. Okay, I don't think that some of the things we are doing, we can have all kinds of policy, but you have to make it happen. One of the easy of doing business is to create an access, especially for diasporas and other foreigners, so that when they go to your website, they can say, okay, like for example, I want to start this kind of franchise. You have somebody you can talk to. Because if you just say, okay, we have enabling business, this and that, yeah, that's those things are great. I'm President Tinubu is doing great, but we have to find a way to actualize it by creating all these assets, having contact, making sure the telecommunication services work. Even when I come back, I try to call Nigeria so many times. I have to try about 40 times before I could get through. Is that how you do business? You don't do it. It doesn't happen like that. When you make a one phone call, your business goes through. You deliver the communication so that you can coordinate with people in the background there. It's not something, if I have to spend my time in America, time is money. If I have to spend my time 3 hours trying to get something can be in an emergency situation. Okay. Yes. So
thank you, sir, for the effort. I think our guest has actually heard you, and I believe he will respond to your question, to your contribution. Maybe before I hand over, I can actually go to book your feedback, please. If you can unmute, book your feedback. Okay, thank you. You can go ahead.
Thank you very much for having us, Honorable Minister and the host. Thank you so much. This program is actually our program. We've been following it, and I want to thank you once again, the Honorable Minister, for being here. Actually, the Honorable Minister happened to be one of his essays when he was a senator, and he knows how dogged I am in business. So I recently started a clothing line. He's aware of it, and I want to ask just one question. I think he's aware because I've asked that question in the group. I happen to be a victim in this. Most of the small businesses are suffering a lot when they go for loan in BOI. I mean, BOI is giving a lot of people loan, a lot of small businesses loan, but a lot also are suffering because when they apply and get audited, when they get to the bank guarantee, because the bank have to give you what they call, I think there's a name there for it. You have to get a bank guarantee for them to give you the loan. And when you get to the bank, they'll tell you have a low turnover that they can't give you the loan. So what is this Renewed Hope government doing to make sure they help the small SMEs from going through this? Because by the time they go to the bank and they can't get the guarantee from the bank, they go back. Some don't even go back to BOI. They just forget the file there. That's what I did. So after spending money to audit your company, after going through going for a TIN number, after paying so much, trying to get your papers together, and when the bank said no, you have a low turnover, we can't give you this loan, then you get stranded and you go back to your shop, start over all over again. So what is your ministry trying to do with the bank to see that the SMEs can get it easy, getting loan from BOI when it gets to the bank guarantee? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Buko Kambi. I can now go back to our senator, please, and for the response to the questions, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Quite a number of questions have been raised. I mean, let me see how I can take them one by one. The first actually came from you in terms of my trip to Benin Republic, where I went to the Save, sugar company, a joint, company owned jointly by the governments of Benin Republic and Nigeria that was established in the 70s, but which has gone through a lot. I mean, it's the last of which is that a Chinese company, has been running this company for the past 20 years, and that 20 years came to an end in 2023. And since after they vacated the site, there's been no activity, in that company. And I mean, first, let me just, place it on record that since its establishment, my visit to this company early last month was the first time, a Nigerian government official, of the rank of minister will be visiting that facility. And I think that my counterpart in Benin Republic, was quick to note this. But having said that, I think that I issued a statement when I came back to the effect that something had to happen. I mean, a few years ago, there was the recommendation by the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, requesting, the approval of government for Nigeria to sell its, share of the company, its equity, to sell it off because of the kind of
Can the technical crew please look into that for us, please? Looks like there's a network issue there.
I think it's a network problem from our guest, and then it's now out, and I hope we will be coming back soon. So before we come back, maybe the chief host can just take over. Probably also welcome our grand patron.
Thank you so very much. I think it's from his own ends there, so they're trying to reboot now at the moment. So I think it's safe to yield the floor to our Oga Patapata at the top to give us his usual words of wisdom. Honorable Babatunde Ogala, you have the floor now, sir, our grand patron. Thank you so very much, sir.
Thank you very much, JK. Thank the minister for taking time out of his busy schedule to join us today. And I must confess, I wasn't too disappointed. I know him fairly well, and I can tell you, he couldn't have done less than he did in articulating positions and educating us on what the ministry and indeed the government is doing in the area of trade enhancement, development, and encouraging foreign investment in Nigeria. So, Honorable Minister, thank you very much for coming out to further educate our colleagues, both in Nigeria and in diaspora, on what the government of Asiwaju is doing to renew the hopes of Nigerians. For the J.K. Adebola Ademole team, and most especially those in diaspora, all I would just continue to say is thank you very much. I'm sure the president, like I mentioned to you here one or two times, is not unaware of what this group is doing. I can tell you for free that I've mentioned it to him a couple of times, and he's aware. And to know that the SGF, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, also joined us today. I think the last time it was the Chief of Staff, Minister, and several of his ministers have come on the program. You can be sure that he is well briefed, and all of them are passing this message on. And like I've noted, it can only but continue to get nearer home. With the ministers, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Chief of Staff to the President, and top government officials participating here, it just tells us the seriousness and the regards the government has for those who put this together, and indeed for our brothers in diaspora. So I would just say, continue to do what you are doing. You are doing all you could do, all you can, and you are doing well for your country. The country, of course, appreciates you, as I've observed with the high caliber of government officials participating. And I'm sure before long we're going to have the vice president and possibly also the president joining us on this program. And I can assure you, we will achieve that. Collectively, we will achieve that. We will work on it, and I'm sure we will do it. Trust me on that. We will do it. It will be done. I'm sure Honourable Minister John Owan Enoh, my brother, my friend, will pass the message on to let the president also know the SGF will do so, the Chief of Staff will do so, I will do so, and all the ministers who have been here and will still be here will continuously do so, will also do so. And before long, we shall be, hopefully, the first group of this nature to host our president on a platform like this, beyond just the TV appearances. We can do it, and we will do it. So I thank you very much, and for doing what you do. Continue to do what you do. Your efforts are not unnoticed and are not unappreciated. Minister, thank you very much for your education. SGF, thank you very much for taking time. That's my big Enoh, for taking time to join us. And all the participants, one must also say, thank you very much. Because without the participants, if we continuously have this program week in, week out, and we don't have those who will listen, who will just be speaking to empty audiences, I also say thank you very much. Distinguished Senator, I see you. I hear you.
Big bros. Well done.
Thank you very, very much.
Well done.
We are indeed grateful and happy to have you with us. God bless us all.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much, our grand patron. I think our Honourable Minister is back on now. So
I apologize. I mean, it's I was just you can hear me, everyone?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I was just concluding my answer to the first question that was asked by Honourable Jacob, and I said that after visiting the survey, sugar company, I mean, two things I highlighted: the fact that one, we're either able to get a core investor, get interested in that facility, and we start negotiations immediately, or we may have to be forced to actually get back to the recommendations some years back by BP, namely that Nigeria's equity, we have to sell it off. And I think that one of the things I can inform this audience is that since after that visit, the technical committees of the two countries have actually met. They met, I think, at some point this week, to consider all the options and to be able to get back to my colleague and I so that we can take it forward. But basically, something needs to happen to that facility, as soon as yesterday. Dr. Mo talked about telephone services, and the fact that a particular expatriate was interested in setting up a pharmaceutical, and the challenge was telephone. Well, it's one of two things. I believe that, Nigeria's telephone system has made quite a lot of advancement in the last several years, and that advancement is being consolidated. I mean, it's for whatever it is worth, I'm going to take this up with my counterpart that is in charge of communications and all of that to find out, how much of this is a problem. But I think that, phone services are working. Admittedly, a few times, they are a bit epileptic, but no doubt Nigeria has made advancement and has continued to make progress on that, in that direction. The second thing has to do with access. Talked about people who are interested in setting up companies in one sector or the other need to know where to go to. I don't think this is a problem. First, the ministry is available. In the ministry has, within the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, the industry sector has a couple of departments, Industrial Development Department, IDD, Industrial Inspectorate, chemical and non-petrochemical, all of these. And depending on where you want to operate from, you're not lacking. We're not lacking in terms of who to meet, who to speak to. The other thing is that as Minister of the State for Industry, there are the mandates are clear. We have clear agencies over which have responsibility. At some point in the course of this program, I've talked about NADDC. If you are interested in terms of the automotive industry, if you're interested in terms of sugar and its product, we have the National Sugar Development Council, and then you can go on and on. If you are interested in terms of the small industry, the SMIDAN is there. So I don't think that this is nearly a problem. I think that there is always where to go to, and there are people to speak with. In terms of tax, talks about tax-free, incentives for foreign investors, and the fact that because they're going to employ Nigerians, tax can be. I think that as part of promoting investments, Nigeria is everywhere. The presidency is becoming president, has become quite renowned in terms of promoting Nigeria's investment readiness, saying that Nigeria is ready for business. And I think the president won't do so if the conditions for that are not enabling, are not enabled. So this government under him, under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has continued to make sure that this is there. People who come to invest in our country have various incentives to motivate them. And I think, at some point when we talked about industrial clusters, several years ago, the country also brought into the idea of the export processing zones. Later on, we have the oil and gas processing zones and all of these are, even though maybe the goals may not have been met in the way they were intended, part of the challenge and part of the focus of this administration and industry, in particular, is to get our export processing zones, to work and to deliver to the Nigerian people. So that is clear enough. Bukia Okangbe talked about a clothing line. Incidentally, she's actually raised this with me about her frustrations with, the various procedures and processes towards getting a loan by the Bank of Industry. Let me say right away that the Bank of Industry is acknowledged to be one of, our best run institutions. Having said so, I can't also, doubt the fact that a lot of our small business people go through quite a lot because of having to meet with the conditions that are necessary, for them to access facilities, especially when they have to deal with commercial banks. All of that, but when I received a briefing from the MD of the Bank of Industry and his team, this actually came to the fore. The focus and the emphasis of the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in terms of delivering the Real Hope agenda is to make it as easy as possible for our micro, small, and medium enterprises to access these loans. The only thing, too, that we need to be able to put into the mix is that, by the time you are giving loans and facilities, especially for Bank of Industry, whose loans are still given at single digit, there must be enough room made to recovery, of these loans and all of that. So I guess that this may be the continuing challenge. But let me assure that discussions are already going on with the Bank of Industry to see how, to overcome some of these rigors that, prospective beneficiaries are subjected to by commercial banks. Incidentally, just this weekend, just yesterday in a meeting, with a team from FCMB, my hope is that in the next couple of weeks, days or weeks, we will be able to announce a partnership between the ministry and the FCMB that has the target of seeing how to, grant loans, to our micro and small business people across the country, quite a number, substantial number per local government, working on that. And all of this is to see how, to promote enterprise, to promote industry, and to see what more contribution we make to see how we can get Nigeria to where it should get to in terms of competitiveness. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, our special guest. I think, despite the little glitch there, you dealt with all the questions without leaving out any one of them, and that's commendable. Thank you so very much, sir. I think I will yield the floor again to my next co-host, who will be Brother Tosi Olayinka. You have the floor now. You can take the next two questions. Three questions. You take the next three questions. Brother Tosi Olayinka, you have the floor now.
Yeah, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be joining from. I also want to use the opportunity to thank my honorable chairman, Barrister J.K. Adebola, and also I welcome our distinguished minister for being in our midst today. So far, it has been an interesting time having you here, and also want to thank you for coming back, even though we experienced some technical glitches, the other time. So thank you for coming back. I have a question for you before I go to other participants. My question is, sir, how do you intend to revolutionize the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment in the first instance of your office or your tenure? And after that, I would like Basi Untom to get ready. And also, I wouldn't call Dyslexia Foundation. Why? Because we cannot have your actual name. Please, if you could change that name to your actual name, I'm sure you could be called upon. Then I also want Jacob to get ready after Basi, and also Ayodeji Bakari. So I call on Basi Untom. You have the floor now.
Good evening,
Okay,
moderator. Good evening, moderator.
Yeah,
an organizer of this digital meeting. I also salute Senator John Owan Enoh, Minister for Industry. My name is Basinson, and I'm from Ecom, Cross River State. My question goes to distinguished senator. For some of us in the digital tech skill, I want to ask the Honorable Minister, sir, what are you doing, or what is your ministry doing to improve innovation in tech, in the aspect of digital tech skill? What will your ministry do to see on how Nigerian youths can grow in digital tech skill and innovations? Because for some of us, some Nigerian youths have a lot of innovations, hardware, software, but we find ourselves at crossroads. We can't even reach the ministry for let's say, open dialogue, for open representation, for maybe sponsorship or partnership. And also, my appeal goes to the organizer of this occasion that for me, I saw the flyer through a WhatsApp group, and I was not even sure. I looked and listening to radio or listening to TV, but I did not see any kind of invitation. So I want the organizers of this occasion to please next time let publicity be really dealt with, so we can have more Nigerians join this digital, will I say, conference. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Yeah, we are not sure actually the platform you're joining from. We have different platform. As you can see some newspaper reporters also joining this platform. Probably we can get back to us so as to know the platform you're joining from and the one we'll add you to. That's for that, and I'm sure the Honourable Minister will come to your actual question. I would like Jacob to please come up with your question or suggestion. You have the floor now, Jacob. Can we please help unmute Jacob? Yeah, we guess probably he's experiencing some technical glitches. I would like to call on my brother.
Jacob is here.
Oh, okay. All right. Go on, please.
Good evening, sir. Most distinguished senator, our big uncle. My name is Jacob Otu. I live in the Republic of Ireland. Jacob Otu. I live in the Republic of Ireland. I'm from Buki in Cross River State. I want to first of all thank you so much and the organizers of this team for putting this together. I think this is the first time we're having a high-profile minister setting up, heading the Ministry of Trade and Industry and reaching out with a diaspora initiative and putting all this together, because we sincerely have serious problem, and I believe that engaging with the diaspora is the way forward. Thank you very much, sir, and congratulations for everything you are doing so far. Now, it is also very important to know that as the Minister of Trade and Industry, you cannot succeed alone without a collaborative energy, resilience from other agencies like the customs, the banks, the financial institutions. It is a very tough task. Now, what are the strategy you are putting in place to make the ease of business in Nigeria very easy? Because as we all know, it is very, very difficult. The timelines at the port, the exportation of our product. I eat Gary. I just ate Gary today. Nigerian Gary doesn't come here. We have Ghana Gary. Other Gary from other parts of the world comes into Ireland. So what are the strategy you're putting in place so that even somebody from Buki can send his Gary produce? We eat banana here, we eat plantain here, and we produce plantain very well. It doesn't come from here. What we have here is we have this kind of supply chain line where we have vessels that move agro product from the South America. So the buyers and other people come together, they set these things, and they come, the delivery time comes in every 2 weeks, and the stores pick these things up. But Nigerian produce, which is 80% organic, does not get to the diaspora. And then if this can be enhanced, it will go a long way in improving our balance of payment deficit. Thank you very much, sir. Agafo.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob, for that. I'm sure you get your response at the appropriate time. I would like to call on, before that, I was made to know that Dyslexia Foundation will not be able to change the name. So before Ayodiji Bakari, I would like to call Dyslexia Foundation to please come up with a suggestion or probably question. You have the floor now.
Thank you very much. My name is Ben Ariko. I tried to change the name Dyslexia Foundation. It couldn't work because of the settings. Honorable Minister, you're very welcome to this. I want to commend you and the organizers. I think it's a wonderful initiative, and I wish that every minister in the Federal Republic of Nigeria should have an opportunity like this of having a session of this nature. Thank you. Jacob said half of what I wanted to say. Ease of doing business. I'm a business person. I send things outside of this country. One of the greatest challenge is the ease of doing business, the inconsistency in policy, regulations, and implementation of those regulations. Today, the policy is this. You know that. By the time you come back the following week, the policy has changed. Somebody is introducing something and you say, where can I see it in the books? It's not in the books. Inconsistency in the implementation of policy and regulations regarding the ease of doing business. Secondly, Honorable Minister, I think there is so much fragmentation in all of you who are having public-facing services. There's a difference in each ministry, department, or agency of government trying to tick its boxes in terms of its ease of doing business. But there's also a need for synergy and strategic alliance so that we can know for a fact that in going to one place, on December 11th, I sent Gary to Portugal. They told me it was going to take 4 weeks. So it was supposed to arrive on the 16th of January. On the 16th of January, I asked my customer there to check if it has arrived. And all they said, oh, it just left Lagos. In fact, they showed me the tracking sheet. It just left Lagos after a month and some days. Why? Oh, when I went to find out their server was bad, this one. Nobody takes responsibility. And all you get is, we are sorry. Sorry doesn't solve the problem for the client whom I have not met their target. Honorable Minister, sir, ease of doing business for the medium and small enterprises is very key. Because when we go to do businesses, it's the ease at which we do that business. Second thing, sir, that I would like you to look into is the competitiveness. I know you just talked about the banking industry coming up with another product. Another product at what rate? The rates are unaffordable for the ordinary small and medium enterprise. Only the BOI can give us a one-digit interest rate. Banks are calling medium enterprises and saying, come and take a loan. When you go there, the interest rate is between 27 and 30%. Because that's the reality of the situation. So when these negotiations with financial institutions are done, please intervene in terms of the level of the rate of the interest. So those would be my two questions. One is the partnership, or would I say the strategic alliance between all of you who have public-facing services to agree what will be the ease of doing business. We need to look into that. Secondly, the cost of funds for the medium and small enterprises is so high that anybody taking a loan now to do a business in Nigeria, you are definitely buying into high blood pressure and, if possible, early death. I rest my case, sir. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Right. Thank you very much. I'm sure you're going to get your response shortly. I would like to invite Ayodeji Bakari. You have the floor now, Ayodeji.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, please.
Hello. Oh, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Engineer Ayodeji Bakari. I am a manufacturing engineer, and so many of you know me on this platform. And same as the person that told the president commodification of the Naira used cassava. That was 2 years ago in New York. So I've been practicing manufacturing engineering for over 10 years. And if the senator and the ministry needs I'm willing to be helpful and be supportive to use my knowledge to help out. Now, in this conversation, I've seen a lot of people talk about the trading, the ease of doing business and all of that. But the Ministry of Trade and Investment has manufacturing as a subsidiary. Now, what we should be talking about and really be focused on is the pillars of manufacturing. Now, what are the pillars? Your energy and your raw materials. Now, when I talk about raw materials, I'm talking about steel. So I would like to suggest that there should be a strong synergy between the Ministry of Steel Development, that is Minister Audu, the Ministry of Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduwole, and our senator here, and also the Ministry of Solid Materials, Solid Minerals, that is Dele Alaki. So there needs to be a synergy such that we look at how can we reduce the actual cost of steel. Now, if you look at steel and how we can produce steel in Nigeria and not import steel into Nigeria. For example, if you look at steel itself today, it is selling for about 450 per ton. If you look at hot rolled coil steel, that's selling for about 650. And if you also look at the iron ore itself, the iron ore itself is about $100. So you can see that value. I'm sorry, $100 per ton. You can see that value. So we really need to talk about that. Secondly, when I talk about energy, I'm looking at natural gas, because if you want that industrialization, because this is all about industrialization, we need to look at energy. How can we make energy affordable? Now, I am not saying cheap, because energy is not cheap. Right now, as we are speaking today, the barrel of crude oil is about $76 per barrel. And it is going to be cheaper, yes, because of Trump policies and all of that. However, it's going to make the dollar stronger, and we are going to bear the brunt. Secondly, if you look at the price of gas today, natural gas is selling for about 3.04 MMBTU per dollar. And if you look at our power sector, it's pegged at 2.42. That is Senator Adelabu, Minister Adelabu. It is pegged at 2.42 MMBTU per dollar. So there's somebody paying for that. So what we should be looking at is, we're talking about LNG, we're talking about LPG. How can you attract these people to become partners? If you look at Mozambique, for example, if you look at Senegal, look at all these different places, they are bringing up gas plants. Now, gas processing plants. And right now, with what's going on between Russia and Ukraine, there's an opportunity here. Europe wants to buy gas. We in Nigeria, we have the gas. We have about 200 trillion cubic feet of gas as reserve that has been explored for now. So I believe there are a lot more. So what we should be looking at is, how do we tell them, hey, we know you need our gas. You need our gas because of what Russia has, especially Germany. Germany's fourth quarter GDP just reduced by 0.2%. So Germany is going to go into a recession very soon because they don't have an alternative source of gas and alternative source of energy, and they shut down all their nuclear plants and the likes. So they are trying to revive that. So now it is, when you come, we want you also to come and set up natural gas plants. Now, I'm not talking about small and mini plants. I'm talking about major natural gas plants. We are not competing with you, because we as Nigerians need to understand that we are disadvantaged when we talk about global trade and all of that. Maybe I'll have another opportunity to talk about global trade, and we have the World Trade Organization, DG, as Okonjo-Iweala, our mommy over there, how we can take advantage of all of this. We need to play the right geopolitics. I'm trying to just crunch a lot of things in just 2 minutes. We need to play the right geopolitics. We need to have the right people on the table making these deals and all of that. And if you need me to fly anywhere in the world, I am ready to fly anywhere in the world. I speak the language of manufacturing and industrialization. And many people here on this platform have heard me speak 1,000,001 times. I've done this for over 10 years here in America. And we can go there and speak with these people anywhere in the world. I will always be available. I yield the floor for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Ayodeji Bakare. I'm sure the minister will attend to your submission shortly. On this note, I would like to yield the floor to our honorable minister. Sir, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I think we've gone through quite a number of questions. I mean, I was beginning to wonder whether I wasn't losing track of some of them, but let me see how much I can deal with these questions. The first had to do with it was just a straightforward question. How do I intend to revolutionize the ministry? That was a question, Well, I mean, let me answer this question by saying this. In the session that I alluded to, that was one of my first moves with the organized private sector and manufacturers, MAN, and all of that, I actually announced something that I considered quite revolutionary. What did I announce? I announced the setting up of an industrial revolution work group, which, because I had called for collaboration and for partnership. And this work group, like I said, was going to be like a war cabinet. Why not? Nigeria's industrial circumstances require such moves, requires such very dramatic considerations and focus. So this work group has a number of, first, all the agencies that are industry related, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, NASIMA, all those people, send representatives to this work group. We key, ministries, like power, like finance, agencies like customs are all going to be part of this work group. I mean, I'd hope that this would have been, already sorted out and inaugurated, but this is held back for now because I'm trying to see how I can raise the platform and be able to raise the visibility for this work group before it gets done. So I think that if this work group is put in place and is inaugurated and it gets to work, it will be quite revolutionary and quite pioneering in the industrial sector. Bassey in turn has talked about digitization, talked about creativity, innovation, and what is the government doing. Let me say that, presently at play, we have what we call IDAS. IDAS is investments in digital and creative enterprises. IDAS as an initiative, it's an initiative that is, the person in charge of IDAS is His Excellency the Vice President of our country, Senator Shetima. So it's and it has a national coordinator. IDAS is domiciled in the Bank of Industry. Like the name implies, it has all the right words. Digitization, it has, creative economy. It does, and the idea is to see how to target, Nigeria's young, youthful population, innovative, creative. And, IDAS has, a provision of close about $500 or $600 something million, and has, quite some, corporations like the, Afri-Exim, as the Islamic Bank, a French bank, all of that coming together to pool resources to see how to enable and to support this initiative by the government. So Bassington, just be rest assured that the focus and the concern of this government, doesn't ignore the need for innovativeness, respond to the innovativeness and the creativity of Nigerian youths. Jacob O2, who called from Ireland, talked about, he's so sure that I can't do all this by myself and that collaboration needs to be the key word. I emphasized that very early, in my tenure, the fact that it is going to require the coming together of a lot of relevant and key agencies, works in terms of infrastructure, depending on the kind of infrastructure, power, the customs are key. The Ministry of Finance, in terms of the various incentives and, tax issues, is key. And all of that, I don't pretend about the fact that this can be done all alone. So that is already in play. That's already, going on. Talk about the ease of doing business. Incidentally, both you and Ben Arikpo, spoke about that. So I'm going to answer, in answering your question, I think I'll also be responding to, Ben Arikpo. Don't mind that I'm calling him this way. Let me talk to you. Let me tell you a little bit about Ben. When I went to the University of Calabar in 1984, Ben was already a lecturer in the Department of Sociology and was my teacher. I was to later also become a lecturer. We became colleagues. And then from being colleagues, we are friends. And he's remained very supportive of my politics and a lot of the things. And I think that, let me thank Ben for being part of this program. in terms of ease of doing business that is being spoke about. I mean, in the course of this program, I've talked about the PEBEC. PEBEC has to do with the Presidential Ease of Doing Business, commission, which was very ably headed, until now by the current Minister of Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke. I believe that she did quite a great job, heading PEBEC. The president just about last week or 2 weeks ago announced a successor, to that body. So just to enlighten the fact that government is also concerned about the need to ease doing business in our country because we need to be competitive. We're not a country, that is in isolation. We're competing with the rest of the sub-region, the rest of the continent, and the rest of the world. So it's work in progress. I mean, has everything been achieved? Not yet. What is the goal? The goal is to make sure that at the end of the day, that a lot is accomplished in this regard. The inconsistent policies and regulations, are a challenge, and I agree with you that a certain level, not even as a high level of predictability, is very necessary and required for people who are in business. For investors who want to come in, they need to be sure that the conditions and regulations prevalent today, upon which they are seizing upon and coming, will be the same, or if they are going to change, that there is a clear indication as to how long it's going to take to get them changed. All of these things, are things that, the government is focused on and is continuing to do. The need for synergy and strategic alliances is important. Unfortunately, a lot of functionaries, prefer to act in silos. But I think that it's important that once the bigger picture is appreciated, once we all, in government know that ultimately we're working for the common good of our country, and our goal is to get life, make things better for our country. So whatever we're operating from, we're contributing to a pool, we're contributing to an outcome. I think that all that will make it easier for this to take place. It's what I can assure is that under the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a lot of these constraints are actually being cleared, actually being overcome. People are being held responsible and accountable for actions that they take or don't take or fail to take. So it's I apologize for how long it took, your product to leave the country, but that's why PEBEC is there. That's why a lot of these agencies are there. And I think that, it's the fact that in terms of competitiveness, in terms of the fact, I mentioned that there's going to be an upcoming partnership and collaboration with FCMB. I agree with you. The big question is at what cost, at what rate. These were the issues that I also raised with the meetings that we had yesterday. And I said there must be something different. There must be something that makes the collaboration attractive. There must be something that that speaks to what the intention of this government are. It mustn't be all strictly business and profit motivation. It mustn't be all that. So I take these comments quite seriously. There are quite some takeaways, from this, session that is currently on. And I thank everyone who's contributed. Ayodeji Bakere, thank you for your willingness to help. Thank you for your willingness to be available at any point in time. You were spot on. Issues of raw materials, steel, and the need for collaboration with the steel, industry and Ministry of Solid Minerals. Raw materials. Raw materials is key. Because industry and manufacturing proceeds based on the raw materials that are available. The raw materials that are available need to be known. It also needs to be appreciated that they have such, quantity of economic value as to make sense to get into production. All of that. So all of these, need to come together and play together to make sense. The issue of the enormousness of our gas resources. If there is one government that has spoken the most and that is also doing the most in terms of propagating and promoting the cause of our gas, resource. And the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing so. and I mean, there's a minister, that is dedicated, to gas, and is pursuing that, so so spot on, like I said. I mean, you spoke quite a lot, and I think that it's going to be an ongoing conversation that is going to proceed and continue beyond this, so so I thank you.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Minister, for approaching the concerns and questions appropriately, sir. We really appreciate you for that. On this note, I would like to yield the floor back to Ambassador J.K. Adebola. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so very much, Honorable Tosin Olayinka, for that. We've got two more hands up. Unfortunately, one of them is Galaxy, which I don't think we'll be able to call unless you have to change your name. And we've got only 40 minutes to go now. And it's okay. We've got another person, Gegele Olushola. All right, so we have two people there now, but then we have only 40 minutes to go because we have to leave in 40 minutes. So, because we don't want to belabor our special guest for today, so I will yield the floor to Boyo to ask the other two. So this will be the last two questions that will be filled in. So please, Boyo, you have the floor now. We have two people. You have Ademola Rabiu, CENG, and we have Gegele Olushola. So those two are the last people we'll be calling, so that we can allow our special guest of honor to to have some respite and to attend to other states matters after the 40 minutes. Thank you so very much. Honorable Boyo, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. Thank you, our chief host, and the Honorable Minister. I've got Mr. Adebola Rabiu. Can you please unmute him, please? Adebola Rabiu, please. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I can.
Oh, thank you, sir. Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity, Barrister Adebola, and your wonderful team. And good evening to all the VIPs with us. So my question is a quick one. I'm with the PBAT Academics and Professionals. We held a policy summit last year in Abuja, and one of the issue deliberated upon that is very, very relevant to this discussion today is on the Bank of Industry, the BOI. Firstly, I want to mention that Renew Hope call for disruptive thinking. Disruptive thinking, that is, we have to challenge the norms. I mean, Nigeria has not been working the way it should be. So we should go beyond being transactional and be disruptive in our policy making and also in policy implementations. The BOI has been doing good work. So we are thinking, how do we, if we could improve or increase their liquidity, they will be able to do more. How can we do this? So is it possible, just like we do with DICON bill, to look at the enabling law for the BOI and maybe tweak with it a bit so that they will accept deposit. If they accept deposit, the liquidity will, of course, grow so much. And then they will be able to do much in granting very low single-digit rate loans to investors. So that's my very first question. The second quick one is on NEPC. From experience, they've been so much with policy formulations, discussion, and things. Is it possible to also make sure they also include export development alongside with the promotions activity they are doing? Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adebola Rabiu. Can I have me, Galaxy? This will just be a one-off time for you to speak. Next time, we will want you to have your name on the platform. Thank you. Galaxy, please. Can you unmute yourself? Galaxy A535G. Hello?
We can move to the next.
Yeah, I think that will be the
Can you
last
hear me?
question.
All right. Can you hear me? Yeah.
I'll give the floor to the Honourable Minister to respond to the last question, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Very quickly, Adebola Rabiu, I mean, it started with, the fact that there must be disruptive thinking. It mustn't be business as usual if we have to get the results that we should get given our present situation and circumstances. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, that's correct. So, especially having the kind of president that we do have now. We have a president that is ready and is, willing, to take, every disruptive idea as long as that contributes to, the actualization of the renewed hope, agenda. You asked two questions. I mean, and you came up with quite some, suggestions. The first had to do with, the role of the BOI and the fact that you think that, they are a bit incapacitated, because of the extent of their liquidity and, whether we can increase their liquidity. And you mentioned accepting deposits while at the same time, sustaining the single digit, interest rates that they're currently doing. Well, it's one of two things. I think that from both the Ministry of Finance and the CBN, there is the decision by this board to increase, their contributions to BOI. That should come as some kind of good news, because that is, increasing the equity means that the capacity of BOI is going to be further, enlarged, and get bigger to be able to, give it more room, to continue to do what work it is doing. But also, I mean, take this as a takeaway, looking at, the relevant laws and seeing, whether, BOI can be made to accept deposits, and all of that. So, I mean, I agree with you. These are disruptive. I mean, your question and your suggestion is. You went on to NEPC, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, and talked about the possibility of including export development than export promotion. Again, I mean, it's the NEPC is not directly within my mandate as Minister of State for Industry. It's within the mandate of Dr. Jumoke as Minister of Trade and Investment. And I'm going to share this, this thought with her and see whether, in addition to the several other agencies that I think are, contributing to export development, whether the mandate, of NEPC can also be further broadened to see how they can carry both, as they promote export, we should also be contributing to, developing export. I believe that even without having to raise that, with the Minister of Trade and Investment, I believe that, already as part of what NEPC is doing, it's also the export development, because you can't promote exports without also contributing to developing, what you are promoting, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Minister. We just, on this note, I want to thank you on behalf of Renewed Hope Global UK for your time well spent. We appreciate your time with us, and we give you, we acknowledge your time, your passionate commitment to Nigeria, to the promotion and the trade industry. We say thank you once again. I will yield the floor back to our chairman, Ambassador J.K. Adebola. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Honorable Boyo. Okay, because we've still got 6 more minutes, we have one hand, Odetola, and trust me, I will not be yielding the floor to anybody more after this. I will give you the opportunity to ask your question for 1 minute, and no more hands will be called after this, because, like I said, our VVIP, they took time out of their busy schedules to be with us. So we have to stick to time. If we say 2 hours, it has to be 2 hours and nothing more. So please, Odetola, you have 1 minute now to ask your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my chairman, J.K. Adebola, and thank you, Honorable Minister, for accepting this invitation to attend this conference. Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. I think I would like to revisit a question asked earlier. I don't think the minister actually addressed, and that is the issue of tax for new foreign investors. The reason I'm saying that is I remember I was here in UK when Republic of Ireland did the same. They give three years tax holiday for foreign investors. And there was so much investment, but unfortunately for Republic of Ireland, they are just about 5 million people. They have no personnel for all the foreign companies coming to bring their business in. So a lot of businesses have to go take their business away because they don't have we have the population, unlike the Republic of Ireland. We may not have the infrastructure. Of course, we can get them to invest in infrastructure. If they want to do their own electricity, there are so many ministries they can do and all that. But I think the federal government should revisit that idea of tax holiday for new foreign investors. It may not be 3 years, maybe 2 years, I don't know. But I think federal government, because that will create massive unemployment. Of course, they will come up with the usual excuse of, oh, we haven't got the expenditure, there's no electricity, there's no da. If they want to invest in infrastructure, we will allow them to. Of course, the government has deregulated electricity anyway. So that won't be an excuse for them not to invest in it. That's what I want to ask. Thank you.
Yes, you have the floor now, sir, Your Excellency.
Well, yes, I mean, I don't know what else I'm expected to say on this based on what Udetola has mentioned. I think that, the issue of tax holidays, not just, the monopoly of Ireland, or any other country, is part of the policies of the present government. It's tax holidays and other forms of incentives to encourage, foreign investors, to come in. I mean, every country has in place a set of incentives. I mean, I've been saying this on, and Nigeria is not lacking in that regard. And like he has appreciated and accepted, I mean, Nigeria has the capacity to absorb whatever volume of foreign investments into it. I mean, foreign investors, are welcome and have been encouraged to come. Nigeria, the sing song by our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is that Nigeria is ready for business. And the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment is continuing in that as well, promoting it and that same, investment readiness of our country. And all of these are in play in terms of the offers that the government has in place to encourage investors to come.
Oh, thank you so very much, Your Excellency, both for your time and for your elaborate responses to the questions. None was left out, and you did your best to ensure that you enlighten our people. Again, it's like I always say, this is the reason why we set this platform up, so that our people will be enlightened as to the inner workings of our government, so that it will disabuse the minds of so many people regarding this warped narratives about our country. So before I close the curtain, I'll just give you maybe a couple of, well, you have as much minutes as you want, sir, just to give us your last words on this program. Thank you very much, sir. You have the floor now.
Well, what would be my last word? I mean, is to say that you guys are doing a tremendous job, for our country, for the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I mean, I praise this initiative. I praise the opportunity that it provides for all of us to come and speak to you and share and enlighten a lot of our diaspora people about what government is doing, what our government is about, and being specific to industry, and to say that being in the diaspora community also has a responsibility. What's that responsibility? That the government is considers industrialization as key, which is why it is the key component of the 8-point agenda of Mr. President. And so we are ready and we are willing to collaborate with, manufacturers and industrialists, whichever part of the world that they are, they are welcome, to contribute to Nigeria's growth. I mean, people have talked about infrastructure, talked about all of that. The benefits of our huge population, the benefits of our youthful population more than outweigh those challenges and those constraints. And I think I've spoken to business people, to industrialists who themselves have seen it and are involved in promoting this. So I mean, I thank everyone for this opportunity. Let me end on this note to again say, that I'm Minister for State for Industry, Minister of State for Industry, and that we have two clear mandates in the ministry. Dr. Jumoke is Honorable Minister of Trade and Investment, but we both are under that same, Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. And it's the course of this program, I've said that we have our 2025 outlook that we're working, to achieve and to accomplish, believing that if our country is going to make progress, if our country is going to have economic development, it has to start with how much industrialization that we achieve. And everybody's hands are on deck. And I'd like to urge everyone to, come make your contribution and see how much that adds, to the big picture where we're all headed. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you so very much, Your Excellency. I don't think we can end it on a better note than you just did now, especially with some of the takeaways for today. I will start with the one you just ended up with now, which gladdens my heart, which is that industrialization is one of the 8 key components of the Renewed Hope administration, because we all know, having been living in the developed world, that industrialization for me perhaps ranks higher in that key component of economic growth in every society. So if that can be achieved in Nigeria, and I believe that's one of the reasons I suspect that the president moved you from the sports to this one, because he perhaps feels that you are more fitted into this, and I'm believing that in the next couple of years we should begin to see a visible improvement in that area. Because I remember when I was growing up, because I grew up in the north, and we had textiles all over we had cottons, we have everything, all of which has now gone comatose now. So perhaps maybe your coming on board now will help us to rejuvenate all of this, to ensure that the country becomes the superpower of Africa, if not the world, that we once were. So for that, on that note, and a couple more takeaways is the expose from you, sir, that this government has part of its policy of encouraging local capacity, especially the local assembly of automobile industry. I remembered again, we have Volkswagen, we have Peugeot in Kaduna, and so many other industries in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, which made Nigeria the economic hub of West Africa, if not for Africa as a whole. So with you on board now, I think just like the president said a couple of months ago, that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I think you have just shown it to us now that yes, with you in the saddle now, there's the light at the end of the tunnel for us in terms of industrialization of our country, which is one of the key components of moving this country forward. For that, I say thank you so very much for coming on board. And with what you've just shown us today now, that you are just right there, the right what's the word I'm looking for? The square peg in square hole, which means you fit the bill. So for us, I think the only way is up for us. And you talked about the partnership between the federal government and the industrial bank to provide loans for micro and small enterprises. This, for me, are things that we've been yearning for our country, and it seems to be coming up upstream now with this president government, because a lot staccato of policies that have been coming up in the last 1.5 years. That's why every time we talk on this program, we advise Nigerians that what we need is to be patient with this government, to persevere, and to continue to pray for our leaders, because we can see that this crop of leaders are doing the most difficult things that should have been done decades ago to bring this country to where it's meant to be. So thank God for President Tinubu now, that he's brought with him a crop of leaders who are helping him to actualize his dream for the country. So for that, we remain grateful to you, sir. We don't want to belabor you, because I know you have other pressing state matters to attend to. So that's why we said 2 hours on the dot, we'll let you go. So thank you so very much, sir. Our regards to your family.
Thanks.
We may come to knock on your door again, sir, because I enjoyed your 2 hours. I don't want it to end, but it's because you have some other state matters. So we might just come knocking on your door again to say, hello, sir, can you please come again and regale us again with what you've done so far. Thank you so very much. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you, and God bless the entire team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And on that note, we will be drawing the curtain here. But just permit me to acknowledge the efforts of stakeholders who made the Renewed Hope Town Hall virtual conference possible through the wide network of influence that they have working behind the scene. Thank you immensely for making this happen. And huge thanks to Ben TV, the first Nigerian African digital channel in Europe, led by its CEO, Alastair Shoredy, for your continued support for Nigerians in diaspora. Thanks also to our other media partners like the Parrot Newspapers, Media Limited, and the Reflector from South Africa, and the Reflector newspaper from Nigeria. You guys make this program rock. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We appreciate you all. And also, I wish to acknowledge our leaders, our grand patron, who every time he comes on, he gives us his words of wisdom and is always soothing. Honorable sir, you are so welcome. Thank you so very much. We always want to have you on our program every week. Thank you so very much. We appreciate you being here. And for the other VVIPs who joined us, we can't thank you enough, because your presence always is like a feeling for us. That's the reason why we do what we do, because knowing fully well that we have your support, we will always continue to provide this platform so that our Nigerians across the globe will have first-hand information regarding what this government is doing, and not listen to all the tittle-tattle and rabble-rousing nonsense on social media. If you want to have the full gist of what is going on in Nigeria, the cocoa of the gist in Nigeria, come on to our program every Saturday. You hear from the, as they say, from the horse's mouth. This is what we do, and for as long as you keep supporting us, we will continue to be here to give you the right perspective from the government. So on this note, we will be. I'm drawing the curtain. So I wish to call the mother of the house, Haji Arekia Abubakar Bello, to give us the closing remarks. Haji Arekia Abubakar Bello, I saw her earlier. Is she still here? Haji Arekia Abubakar Bello, you have the floor now. Just give us your closing remarks, then we'll close the curtain. Thank you so very much, everybody, for being part of this, and for all our participants too, and millions of our supporters watching on all our social media handles. We say thank you so very much. It is because of you that we keep doing what we are doing every week. It's not easy, but for you, for as long as you keep supporting us, we will always be here to make sure that we bring our leaders to come and engage with us. Thank you so very much. Is Haji Arekia still there? If not, then let me call Lady Enitade. Lady Enitade, you have the floor now. Please give us your closing remarks. Lady Enitade, you have the floor now. Uh-oh. It looks like all our ladies are disappearing on us. Okay. Who do I call again? I might have to go to the men now. I can see Prince Joseph Fadile there. Prince Joseph Fadile, can you just give us your the closing remarks before we draw the curtain? Prince Fadile, please, you have the floor now. Let us unmute Prince, because I can see his name earlier here. Prince Fadile, let's unmute Prince Fadile to give us the okay, it's not there. Okay, how about Lady Edith? Lady Edith, are you there? Lady Edith, can we please unmute Lady Edith, please?
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, your closing remarks, please.
Okay. I just want to use this opportunity on behalf of Renew Hope UK to thank each and every one of you, especially our guest today, for making it, a point of duty out of his busy schedule to be here with us. So we appreciate you, Senator. We really appreciate you. And we want to use this opportunity on behalf of the executive of Renew Hope and the whole Renew Hope members and everybody to say thank you for coming. Thank you for being part of this program, and we'll urge you to continue supporting us and being part of this program from now on going forward. Thank you, everybody, and I wish you all to enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.
Thank you so very much, Lady Edith, for that closing remarks. On that note, we'll be drawing the curtain here. In the next couple of days, we will be announcing our next VVIP for next week. So watch this space. We will let you know who is coming next. Because as I've always told you, every time we knock on their doors, our leaders, that is, they never say no. So any of them that we knock on their door, they always open the door to say, what do you want? So we will be posting the details of the next our next VVIP for next week. So watch this space and join us again as we dissect another segment of the renewed hope administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So until then, I say good evening and good night. Thank you so very much.